Mammalita, it's me again, Hazel Pinto from BSN Sciences 1A. And today I will share to you what I have understood in Module 8 and 9, Communicating in a Multicultural Society and World. Our objective is to define the following terms: culture, melting pot, philosophy, cultural pluralism, co-cultures, marginalized group, assimilation, accommodation, separation, ethnocentrism, globalization, multiculturalist, diversity, culturally confused, cultural imperialism, and etc. So first, let's define what is culture. What is culture in purposive communication? Culture refers to a group of people's style of life or the way we do things. Learning passes on a culture to the next generation. Cultures are communities of people who share similar values and beliefs. Languages, festivals, rituals and ceremonies, food and architecture are all cultural features that we may share. Western culture, youth culture, counterculture, and high culture are examples of culture. Melting pot philosophy according to the melting pot theory. The melting together of several cultures will form a new substance with significant strength and other combined advantages, similar to metals melted together at high temperature. As a dominating group philosophy, the melting pot promoted the idea that individuals of all cultures, ethnicities, faith, and ethnic backgrounds would come together to establish a homogeneous civilization that would eventually become part of a broader multi-ethnic society. Cultural pluralism is defined as a sociological condition in which minority groups within a community can keep their different cultural identities, values, and practices as long as they comply with the rules and norms of a larger society. A co-culture is a group whose values, beliefs, or behaviors set apart from the larger culture which it is a part of and with which it shares many similarities. Cultures may comprise many subsets, and this co-culture may thrive within them. Then marginalized groups are those excluded from mainstream social, economic, educational, and/or cultural life. Example of marginalized population include, but are not limited to, groups excluded due to race, gender, identity, sexual orientation, age, language, and/or the immigration status. Cultural assimilation is the process by which a minority group or culture becomes more like the majority group in a society that adopts the values, actions, beliefs, or actions of another group either completely or partially. Then we have accommodation. It is a form of social interaction in which we get used to the factors that are likely to lead to conflict either by force of habit or sheer inertia or a desire to live and let live. It simply means adjusting oneself to the new environment. And then we have separation. It occurs when individuals reject the dominant or host culture in favor of preserving their culture of origin. Separation is often facilitated by immigration to ethnic enclaves. And then the ethnocentrism. It is a tendency to look at the world primarily from the perspective of one's own culture. Part of ethnocentrism is the belief that one's own race, ethnic, or cultural group is the most important, or that some or all aspects of its culture are superior to those of other groups. Then globalization. Globalization is a word that describes how trade and technology can connected and interdependent the world. Globalization encompasses the economic and social developments that have resulted from cross-border commerce in goods and services, technology and investment, people and information flows. And then we have the multicultural communication. Concentration focuses on the dynamics of communication across cultures. It explores not only what happens when people of two different cultures meet, but also what happens when people from a variety of culture and ethnicities come together in one organization or community or country. Diversity, the recognition and valuing of difference encompassing different factors such as age, gender, race, ethnicity, ability, religion, education, marital status, sexual orientation, and income. And then we have cultural dissonance. It is a sense of discord, disharmony, confusion, or conflict experienced by people in the midst of change in their cultural environment. The changes are often unexpected, unexplained, or not understandable due to various types of cultural dynamics. The term cultural imperialism refers to most broadly to the exercise of domination in culture, relationships in which the values, practices, and meanings of a powerful foreign culture are imposed upon one or more native culture. And then communication. The sharing of information in which the receiver understands the meaning of the message in the way the sender intended. And then interethnic communication. It is defined as the communication of the representatives of different ethnic communities in situation of prolonged cohabitation in the same society and citizens of one state. And then we have global or international communication. It is the development and sharing of information through verbal and nonverbal messages in international settings and contexts. And lastly, intercultural communication. It involves the sharing of information across different culture and social groups, including individuals with different religious, social, ethnic, and educational background. Let us compare and contrast individualism and collectivism, high context communication, cultures and low context communication, cultures, high power distance cultures and low power distance cultures, masculine cultures and feminine cultures. So, collectivism is a principle or practice of prioritizing group cohesion over individual pursuits. On the other hand, individualism is a value or political view which focuses on human independence and freedom. High context cultures are those that communication in ways that are implicit and rely heavily on context. In contrast, low context cultures rely on explicit verbal communication. High context cultures are collectivist value interpersonal relationships and have members that form stable, close relationships. Then a culture that gives great deference to a person of authority is a high power distance culture, and a culture that values the equal treatment of everyone is a low power distance culture. And lastly, in a masculine culture, men are expected to be assertive, competitive, and focus on material success, while women are expected to be nurturing and focus on people and quality of life. Let us discuss the kind of problems that culturally confused face. Culture is all socially transmitted and shared behaviors, manners, costumes, rituals, beliefs, Ideas, arts, knowledge, values, morals, and ideals that are learned in a group of the same nationality, religion, or ethnicity. It is handed down from generation to generation, slowly evolving and creating many subcultures in the process. Cultural diversity can make communication difficult, especially in the workplace where misunderstanding can cause costly problems. When people from different cultures work together, several factors can become barriers. First, we have language. Not speaking the same language well can cause a more it can cause misunderstandings and is considered the most crucial barrier in cross-cultural communication. Behaviors and belief. Cultural differences cause behavioral and personality differences like body language, gestures, mindset, communication, manners, and norms, which may lead to miscommunication. Like for example, eye contact is very important to some culture but rude and disrespect in others. People's varied religious or spiritual beliefs can also lead to conflict and cross-cultural barriers. Different cultures also have different understanding of time. Ethnocentrism. From an evolutionary standpoint, belonging to a group made you stronger and more likely to survive in a hostile world. This is us versus them thinking is ingrained in our subconscious and can lead to a sense of alienation if someone behaves in a way we don't understand or aren't expecting if they don't fit in. A person's standard is his or her own culture. The more another person's culture, behavior, language, and beliefs deviate from it, the more the other they are labeled. So this affects the understanding of message and creates hostility. So that would be all for Module 8 and 9. Thank you for listening.